and I'll show you how to do it step by step. Okay? So, the first thing we got to do is unbolt the wheel cylinder. See these two bolts right here?
Yep.
These two loosen up, and then the wheel cylinder comes off.
Okay.
Now, what I recommend doing, I've already broken loose this valve, this bleeder, because it was already bolted on here. So I've broken that loose already so it'd be easier to deal with.
Right.
I would also recommend taking these 7/16 here and breaking them loose while it's bolted on here.
Right.
Otherwise, you're trying to hold it in one hand and it's not bolted anything. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we're going to pry this seal off here too. It's got a wire lock. We're going to pry that up, which exposes the handbrake cable.
Okay.
Okay, and that gives us some room to work. So we're going to pry that up, brake torque on these four, leave them on, but just brake torque on them.
Right.
And then we're going to unbolt these 2 1/2" right here.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have the wheel cylinder removed, and the disassembly here is where things get very unclear, especially in the workshop manual, which doesn't really tell you anything more than take it apart. It doesn't tell you how to take it apart. So while we had the wheel cylinder bolted to the hub, we broke torque on these 4 cap bolts here at the top that hold the handbrake cable housing onto the wheel cylinder, make it easier to take those things loose.
Right.
So now there's a pin right here that holds these 3 lever plates together. So we're going to knock that plate out. We want to shoot a little bit of penetrating oil on here first. This pin, if we lift this up, this pin is exposed and we can push it from one side to the other. And I just moved it by hand. So this one's going to be pretty easy to deal with, it looks like.
Right.
But that pin can just go from right to left out that side or the other way, doesn't really matter. When that happens, it's going to allow us to pull these lever plates apart and then get to the next level.
Did you have new seals, or did you make? What did you use for this?
I just put Loctite 518, which is an anaerobic gasket sealant I use on engines, and I put that there to seal it off. It's just to keep water out of here.
Gotcha.
So there's no fluid in there. It's just to keep water out when you ford rivers and creeks.
Gotcha. All right. All right, so we just got the pin out of here.
Yep, here's the pin. We just freed that out of the assembly.
Check.
It's brass, so it's pretty easy to get out of there. So now, the next thing we want to do is go ahead and take off these 4 bolts that we've already broken torque on, and that will free this cable cap off the top. That will give us access to a couple of things we've got to do to take the rest of this apart.
Okay.
All right, so now we got this removed, the cap's off. Now, this center lever can actually be removed now. Sometimes you have to kind of fight with it a little bit to get it worked out of here, but having this out will give us some more access to work on the next piece of the puzzle. This is a little bit
all this out
the hard way. Okay, and there's no proper way to get this out. You just got to mess with it. Now, look at the orientation of this, because you're going to wonder about this later, okay? So these 2 levers have an offset that brings them inboard toward each other. You can put these on backward when we go back together with it. And if you do that, you're going to be way out to lunch. And then, of course, look at the orientation with this one, where the hammer portion of it is toward the bottom. That's the way it came apart. So this is where you got to pay attention and take pictures, or, of course, use this video that we're helping you with here.
All right.
Okay, so once you get the center portion of it out, you start looking at this and you're like, how in the world does this come apart? And you're going to notice that you can't pull these levers out because they won't come through the hole in the top, and there's really no way to get inside here and pull off. There's actually like a horseshoe clip, or like a clevis clip that's at the very bottom of that. You can't really see it in the video, but you can't get to it. So it makes you really fight with it, because all this is still linked together. When you pull the cap up, it pulls the whole assembly up.
Right.
What you're not going to notice is this little tiny cotter key right here. See that?
Yeah.
Okay. On the back side, you see it folded over.
Yep.
So now what you have to do is you have to remove that clip and then pull it out this away from the front. Unfold this, pull that out from the front, and then that is going to allow you to separate this cap from the portion that's connected to these levers underneath.
And then
because
this comes out the bottom then, probably.
it comes out, it comes out this direction.
Yep.
So the next step is unfolding these
Right.
and then pulling that little key out
Okay.
and separating.
So I got the pin straight there with the dental tool and pair of pliers, and I'll just pull that out now. Using the dice.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. Okay. Yep.
Okay, now that we've got the key removed, it allows us to separate this upper portion, the cap portion, from the lower portion.
Yep.
Now that exposes us to the little clevis clips that hold the ends of each one of these levers onto that brake assembly. So now we have to fight with those to pry them apart, because it's like a horseshoe. We have to pry them apart and then pull the lever off,
Okay.
which this is a whore. Let me show you how I did it earlier. So what I did earlier was fought with that and got that up like this. And all this old grease is making it where you just got to fight with it. You see, it's got like it's like a horseshoe there.
Can you hold it and then somebody tap it?
Well, you can. That's one way I did it earlier. If you want to hold
Yep.
that, you hold the cylinder and let me
Yep.
hit it. And there you go, just like that. Let me get a hammer where it's This one's really folded over tight compared to the other ones. Let me get I've got a small screwdriver.
There you go.
Here, and then I got this here too. See, that's really tight on there. See, what I did earlier was I held it like this. Let me grip it. Let me try something else. Okay, Bradley, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Come here and hold this real quick. Hold this screwdriver. Just no, the other one. Hold that down like that right there. Once you get it to start separating, it's not too bad to deal with. You just got to do whatever you got to do.
What if you put it flat at a 90?
And,
At a
well,
90 and then...
it really separates easier. See, it's coming now.
Gotcha.
There it
There
is.
it goes.
So when you get it that far,
Uh-huh.
then you can roll it around and get underneath it. All right, pull your screwdriver out, Bradley. And then you can take this little tiny one and stick behind it, see?
Right.
And once you get it underneath it, then it's not as much of a pain to deal with.
Oh, I already slipped back on.
Yeah, a little bit it did. Let's try it again. Stick yours back under there, Bradley. And of course you're going to have to straighten the clip back out before you put it back on. And get all the scars off of it.
That'd be easier, wouldn't it?
No, not really. See there, now it opened up.
Yep.
Okay, pull yours out, Bradley. And then we can stick this one behind it and get it out.
Gotcha.
See?
Yep.
Right there. All right, I can do the other one. I wouldn't bother videoing it.
Okay. So once I got those horseshoe clips off here, then inside this just slips right off each side.